Hi folks, welcome to another Rio and Draw conversation. This time we're going to talk about one of the few strange things that are taking place in the world. There are a lot, but we need to go one by one. So this time we will go through Bolsonaro jailing. It is a very difficult situation to understand, but for that purpose, or for us to know exactly what happened on the background, get some chronology on how did we get here, I have the right guess. But before that, let me just unpack what we're here for. So the former president, Jair Bolsonaro, he was convicted on the 11th of September of 5 charges, and they are all related to a coup attempt after the 2022 election of the current president, Lula da Silva. So Bolsonaro received 27-year and 3 months sentence, which is the first time that a Brazilian ex-president is jailed for apparently attacking democracy. At the moment, Bolsonaro is under house arrest, and it's now 1.5 months, so since August 8th, due to some health issues. And the reason is a couple of years ago, or actually in 2018, yeah, time is flying. In 2018, he was stopped by an individual, and this is still under investigation. There was some pressure coming from the US. So Rubio and Trump are calling it witch hunt. So we want to understand what they mean by that. So there's also geopolitical involved. We will go through it as well. And last but not least, we want to understand the close relationship between Bolsonaro and Israel, in particular Netanyahu, and the support of the Christian evangelicals in Brazil. So just to give you an illustration, imagine a leader who rallies millions, survives an assassination attempt, and all of a sudden he gets branded a criminal overnight. That is Bolsonaro. We want to understand, if we can, because it's quite complex topic, whether this was justice or Lula's revenge. So to answer these questions, I have the pleasure of having Artur Moreira, who is just here with us. He's a Brazilian political analyst and also a podcaster, and he is a newbie to our show. So please give him a welcome. Make sure to write some comments on the chat box, and also press those 3 buttons below: share, like, and subscribe if you haven't. Artur, you are very welcome to this podcast.
Hello, Victor. Hello, Marco. It's an honor to me to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. As the majority people know already, first, Bolsonaro is perhaps the greatest popular electoral phenomenon of all time. He won an election against the entire traditional media apparatus, saying things that the majority of the Brazilian people felt and believed it. But were silenced by the media and cultural media. He won the election using social media and as a genuine phenomenon of popularity.
Thanks for the background, Artur. Let me just ask something, Marco. What was the impact of the Bolsonaro jailing in Israel, among the press, among people in general? Is there any echo that you want to share with us?
Well, I think it's clearly being noted, and people will also generally see a pattern, a recurrent pattern around the world where certain candidates, where certain politicians are penalized by the judicial system without entering into the details and the motivations of the judge. I think it is clear that there is a recurrent pattern that if you are on a particular end of the political spectrum, you are at a distinct disadvantage. And certainly Brazil appears to fall very much in line with that pattern, a recurrent pattern which we have seen in Britain, in Italy, in the United States, and in so there is certainly great cause for concern, and I think it bears witness to something. I can't obviously speak for Brazil, but certainly for Italy, for Israel, Italy, and the United Kingdom, I believe that the judiciary and the philosophers of law are out of sync with general sentiment. That is my distinct impression, and I think that is borne out by facts.
Thanks, Marco. Sorry, Arthur, I had to mute you because there was some noise on the background, but now it's okay. Would you let us know exactly what happened on the 8th of October in 2023?
Bolsonaro, at the time of January 8th, was in the United States. Okay, the Brazilian army, traditional ally with the historical center left, was already under the command of Lula da Silva. The people who attended the demonstration were unarmed and accompanied by children, the elderly, and street vendors. So there is not any kind of evidence that connect Bolsonaro with the coup d'etat. It doesn't. The state prosecutor is not even able to bring evidence of preparation acts, not even to the try of this crime, but he is not able to make evidence to prove that Bolsonaro prepared acts to start this tentative. You understand me?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It seems it seems that they are forcing, even though he was not present physically, they want to add him to the picture when he was nowhere near. He was in another country. So how can they convince the public that Bolsonaro was part of the coup, if there was a coup, when he was in the US?
I don't think they have convinced any public, because the streets in Brazil, they have thousands and thousands and Bolsonaro supporters, and the Brazilian people, they are massive with Bolsonaro, absolutely. Every time when Lula da Silva tried to make any demonstration for him, we can see normally 50, 20 persons at the streets. He won the election because Lula da Silva won the election, but Bolsonaro fought to grant the legality of the voting machines, the electronic voting machines. And the Argentinian, there is an Argentinian guy, I don't know if you have heard about him. His name is Fernando Serimedo. Fernando Serimedo is a statistic. He used a statistic to challenge the infallibility of electronic voting machines. At the time, all Serimedo's channels and social media, they were banned, they were forbidden, they were persecuted, and he was silenced in Brazil. And because the electronic voting machines, they are based in Linux. And the people in the January 8th, they went to Brasilia to ask for the source code of the software of the voting machines. But the Brazilian Supreme Court never would give this source of code, because this source code could be definitely reveal the algorithm, the way that the software worked.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah. It seems to me that the situation in Brazil resembles what happened in the States, that it's very hard to rely on the election system. And you mentioned the digital or electronic vote, so transparency is not really a thing. Am I correct in comparing the two?
Yes, it's absolutely nobody in Brazil believes in, it's forbidden. If you talking about to put in cause the legality of the voting machines, you can be arrested in Brazil nowadays. The government introduced people into the demonstration. That demonstration that the people were just going to Brasilia in January 8th to ask for the source code of the voting machine. The government introduced people into the demonstration to damage public buildings and delegitimize the popular act of democratic demand. These democratic protesters remain imprisoned nowadays. Now they are about 85 person, a lot of exiled people, persons in Argentina and many different countries, even here in Portugal, journalists, YouTubers. I hate to say that, but Brazil is not a democracy anymore.
Yeah, that's a good reason to be concerned. I think you guys deserve a regime that looks after people, is not prosecuting individuals who dare to have a different opinion. The other figure that is quite sinister in the Brazilian scene is this Alexandre de Moraes, that I call him the Nosferatu of the justice. He has been accused of bias, and even he was sanctioned by the US. Was he involved in the Bolsonaro sentence?
Talhaferro? You're talking about Talhaferro?
No, I'm talking about Alexandre de Moraes in this time.
Yes, Alexandre de Moraes. So the United States applied Magnitsky sanctions and the fee of 15% of to Brazilian importations, United States. So these sanctions, they will increase if they don't accept a kind of forgive to these prisoners, amnestia to these prisoners, because they are innocent people. Old woman, 75 years old, very young people, very old men, for example, sick people, they were including beaten in prison. They are being tortured. It's a very sad history. It's crazy. There is a film. It's very recent. Sérgio Tavares. Sérgio Tavares is a very famous Portuguese journalist that is really helping Brazil, because he has a film. The name is The Fake Judge. He was shown here in Lisbon, in United States, and in a few weeks he's going to give the link freely to everybody see in the world. It's very important to us, to Brazil. He's a Portuguese journalist. He's really loved in Brazil.
No, he was in my podcast last year. He was actually episode 10, so it's quite remarkable to have such a figure when I was celebrating 10 episodes. So for sure, when the video is available on YouTube, I will share it with my viewers, and maybe I can even invite him to be back and they can tell people what's going on in Brazil, because he visited Brazil at least 2-3 times recently, so he knows the stuff. He's not just talking from his studio. He is present on the field, so he has, he's well related with the country, so he's not just talking because he wants attention or likes or to entertain his ego. He's someone that I would call old-fashioned journalist who likes to travel and see things by himself. So I don't always agree with him in other topics, but I admire the fact that he is what journalists used to be. Marco, do you want to add something here?
Some considerations. So we are talking about political persecution on quite a large scale in Brazil. That's what you're telling me, and I'd be interested to know which the forces that lie behind this. Who are the main actors in your estimation that have created this situation? Who are the big players that?
Are you asking to me?
Yes. Who is the media? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's sad to say that there is a straight connection with the drugs gangsters, the drugs gangsters in Brazil. It's really sad to say, but Brazil nowadays is controlled by drug gangsters. It's sad to say, but it's the truth.
Okay. So, are we talking about can we draw the analogy with some other countries, Venezuela and Colombia as well, where they are heavily involved in the political, where they've infiltrated the halls of power?
Yes, I'm sure that's everything connected. And I believe that the American forces close to Venezuela, they're in Paraguay, American forces as well. And I believe a lot of people believe as well that the United States, they are waiting the right time, the best time to start fighting against these all drug sellers, gangsters.
These cartels.
Yes. And this government, they are connected to. I'm not going to say this word because I don't want to disturb the views of Vicente, but the terror, they scare, they help the Palestinians, blah blah blah. Okay, so they are terror, and at the same time they defend the drug gangsters. So it's a narco terror state. You understand me?
Yes, indeed, I do understand you, and I think there are certain parallels with the Middle East, as we've seen with Syria and Hezbollah in Lebanon. It is a narco-Islamist complex. That I think has been ascertained. Yeah, so certainly we see recurrent patterns here as well. Can you tell me a little bit about the media in Brazil? What role do the media play?
The media, we are talking about the TV, the journal, this kind of things.
Yes, the mainstream media,
The mainstream, they are absolutely connected to the historical, to the traditional center leftists.
Right.
They are absolutely so. Bolsonaro and the right wing, they don't have any kind of voice in this media. It doesn't exist. And I take the opportunity to say that unfortunately here in Portugal, it's the same. All the media, televisions, newspapers, radios, it's absolutely connected to the Cravo revolution in 50 years. Nowadays, is that the Portuguese people, they are rising, they are understanding, because it was really close. It was incredibly close that this media domain the country. It's very okay, but the Portuguese people, they are proud because it's 1,020 years of history country. The people are very warrior, and they are going to win. They are more free than us, than Brazilian people.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, you, Arthur, I have to say, you are a bit biased because you are a huge Portugal fan. I think we have this conversation. You like more Portugal than me, which I think we discussed that over a couple of beers. Talking of Portugal, we'll go back to Bolsonaro, but now that you mentioned, I want to use the context. And I was watching the word exchange between André Ventura and the protesters next to the Portuguese parliament. But I don't know exactly the background of it. Did you see that footage on social media?
Yes, I saw. The question is that, like, for example, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, they have an objective process to get the immigrants, because a lot of people, a lot of countries in the world, they need immigrants. It's normal. Okay, but these three countries I mentioned, they select them in an objective process. So the professionals of that the country needs, for example, if they were already persecuted by law, or if they are criminal, and what the Chega party under Ventura wants is only to choose a way to turn objective, to select this immigrant. And the criminal leftists say that Ventura is a racist. It's horrible. It doesn't anything to see with race. There is no exist human race. It's a lie.
Arthur, I think we had a couple of interactions when it comes to Ventura. Like, I endorse some of his stuff. I dislike a couple of other, but in this particular situation, I think Ventura is just saying what people used to say, let's say, in the 1990s. Like, my parents who have the exact same view, because that was the way that people would approach borders in the past. So all that he is proclaiming is the stuff that was trendy and acceptable 20 years ago. But now it seems that the truth that we defended, let's say, at the beginning of the century, or it's controversial. Why is that? I don't think that every generation was wrong. Things were working pretty well in the past when it comes to safety in Europe and Portugal as such, but it's not the case anymore. Is really Portugal going down the hill when it comes to safety?
I believe basically that the violence increased, and the cultural shocks, they are increasingly growing increasingly fast, and it's very different. What I think that it's really impressive is that André Ventura, he rises in an ambience with all the media against him. It's very, very strong, but even so, he grows. I don't understand. I like it, but I don't understand. It's a miracle.
Arthur, I think I do, because I think he's very, very smart. Like, you can critique from some of his views. That's fine. We don't need to have the same opinion on everything. But I think he's freaking smart. So he uses the media attacks on his favor, and you can see that he's doing better and better on the polls. He's now ahead. He's now number one. So I think the more attention that is given to him, the more he is using it in his favor. Because what happened is he's talking real things. He's talking to problems that concern people. And when the media tries to portray him as the bad guy, he just show up. He just point out what's going on to the everyday individual, in his in this routine, and people will relate to that. Like he says, okay, Portugal is not safe anymore. Unemployment is it's a problem. Inflation is going up to the roof, and he's very good at capitalizing people's problems. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Marco?
Yes. Does Brazil have a problem with illegal immigration?
I don't think so, but it's different. It's really different for two reasons, maybe. The first one is that Brazil, the economic and the safety, the situation is not interesting. It's not so interesting to immigrants, and it's a big country who can place all the West Europe inside our territory. And for example, imagine if in the entire Portugal decided to immigrate all of them to Brazil. We don't even feel that.
So there's no problem as there is in Europe with where the demographics are really influencing and placing a lot of stress on the social fabric. What other what internal issues, what social issues are there that you'd like to tell us about? Is there an issue with different ethnic groups, religious groups? What kind of tensions are there within Brazilian society?
Because it's a kind of socialism that, how can I say that, they are centered in ethnicity. So they have a doctrine that I would say that it's an Indian centered. So it's a neurophobic. You understand the word europhobic?
Yes.
They would like to say that it was the Indian land and the murder Europeans immigrate to Europe and started to kill the Indians and to fight against their religions, their way of life. But it's not at all truth, because in truth, the humanity they have met they have re-met in America. So they would like to expose the Euro descendants from Americas. They have this kind of, so they arrive here in Portugal with this kind of hate in the heart. So with this speech. So I think that the Portuguese law, the Portuguese politicians, they don't have to accept this kind of immigrants that comes here hating the country. It's crazy.
Okay. Turning back to Brazil, what is Ignacio Lula da Silva? What's his support base? Where does it come from? Which type of people vote for him? Which sectors of society are drawn to his message, let's say in inverted commas?
Primarily, he was a syndicalist.
Union,
and then
union.
And then he understood very well that kind of making politics, paying every supporter, so distribution the money to everybody around him, and making the increase of lot in Brazil. This is basically his structure. For example, a lot of artists, a lot of singers, actors, they support him because he gives a lot of money to these people. So
He seemed interesting. He seems to fall into a sort of a pattern, a sort of a Latin American pattern of the Fidel Castros, the Maduros. He seems to a little bit, not exactly, of course, but he seems to. There is a recurrent pattern here that we see in South and Central America with other politicians, dictators, I would say.
he's absolutely connected to the worst of the worst of all this dictatorial regime. So, Foro de São Paulo, Foro de São Paulo is exactly this. It's a join of all this dictatorial situations. It's very sad.
Yeah. It's
Why do you think South America is this prone to Marxist rhetoric? I guess Marcos said it's not just Fidel Castro, it's Lula. There are plenty of examples across South America. Why is South America such a fertile territory for Marxist narratives?
The territory?
Yeah, why people fall to this ideology that much in South America? Because I think it happened in basically all South American countries, maybe with the exception of Chile. No, Chile has Allende as well, so
it
also
had
Chile.
Allende, yeah.
I think that they have chosen this region of the world because there are a lot of analphabetism, a lot of poverty. It's the people is very. I'm talking about education. The people is very hungry and poor. It's very fragile. It's very fragile. I think that's why, because socialism, they feed themselves by two things: poverty and hate.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. What about international alliances? Who is Lula da Silva aligned with? Which countries? Which great powers?
Which country? It's an scary question, huh? But I have to say the truth. North Korea, China, Iran, and all the South American dictatorial ships. The worst of the worst. It's crazy. It's the worst of the worst. It's crazy. I don't understand. It's very sad to us.
Yes, it's certainly very serious. Yeah.
There's this sentence that says, if you want to know someone, think about the 5 people that this person hang out the most with. So that's very true of Lula. That's very true of most people. You know, if you don't know exactly what kind of character are you dealing with, just look at their friends. You know, the friends will tell who this person is. So that's for sure the case of Lula da Silva. And I think what is also scary on the Brazilian case, that you guys have some old-fashioned socialist types, plus with the modern woke, the modern political identities and political identity and all that. And it's, as you said, it's the worst of the worst combined, because I could say the old-fashioned socialism will be all about the working class, although end of the day they wouldn't care much about them. It would be just a facade, but they wouldn't fall into this trans rhetoric or Black Lives Matter and all that. But when I was in Brazil last, I felt that these sort of American conversations are being well received by the Brazilians, even in Bahia. I saw, like, when I was in a souvenir shop, I saw a couple of souvenirs who were resembling the Black Lives Matter logo. And I was sad, because, like, you guys in Bahia are known to be very joyful. Not only outside of Brazil, but in Brazil. And I perceive a lot of anger, and it's sad to see that a population like yourself, that are dancing, drinking, chatting, smiling, are now falling into this bitterness and hate and all that. I hope it's just something that will be present on people, but it will be gone in, let's say, in a couple of years. Are you optimistic, or you think that's the end of that mindset?
I think that I remember when I was about of 18 or 20, the, there was love in Brazil. They were happy people, and carnival and friendship and all these things, and everything changed. Everything changed. It's very sad. It's not a relaxing ambience. There are a lot of ideology around, and everything's forbidden to say. You have to be very careful with the words. Every word used in the wrong place is racist, is against minority people religion. It's terrible, Vicente.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that that's been happening in Europe for a long time as well. So certainly we see what you say. We see it in Europe as well. What about the economy now? What can you tell us about the economy and how it was with Bolsonaro and how it is now? How would you describe it?
Because Bolsonaro administration was brutally attacked by the leftist media and undermined by COVID. So it was difficult to him. It was very difficult because he faced these two situations. But the economy of Brazil nowadays is completely destroyed. Yes, the prices in the supermarket, they are twice more expensive.
Right. I see. So Bolsonaro faced a similar situation to Trump in the United States, because to a great extent, COVID facilitated Biden's election, and there are some serious doubts about Biden's election as well. So there are pretty interesting analogies between Trump and Bolsonaro. Now we see that Trump made a great comeback politically, maybe the greatest comeback in political history. Is a similar scenario possible in Brazil, in your opinion?
I don't know. What I'm sure about is that the ex-president of United States, he helped to Brazil Lula election, that situation of the electronic voting machines, and to silence of the social media. The social media, my Facebook, for example, it was about 40 days. I was suspended. For example.
Right. That's interesting. And I believe certain platforms were also banned. Was Twitter banned in Brazil? Do I remember? Twitter before, was it banned in Brazil for a period? I seem to recall one of the platforms was stopped working in Brazil.
Yes, not only the X, not only the Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram. A lot of social media was they had to obey the Moraes determinations and the sanctions that the United States is applying to Brazilian regime. It's even because that they have restringed rights, free speech is free expression of the American citizens and the American companies free of expression.
Right. Interesting. Indeed.
Let's shift to the affinity. The affinity between Israel and Bolsonaro. So, when I was researching, to be honest, I didn't remember that myself, although I saw it in 2019. Bolsonaro said it in Hebrew, "I love Israel," which was remarkable. That he wanted to express his love for the country in the language of the country. That's not something that we see on a daily basis. How was that perceived? So not only the fact that he made an effort, but the fact that he was able to express in public the love to a country that is not always well seen on the media, in the among the academia. How did the Brazilian public perceive Bolsonaro love story with Israel?
I think that the majority of the Brazilian, we love Israel. We have a lot of Jewish people in Rio Grande do Sul, in São Paulo, a lot of in many places, many different states in Brazil. We normally love the Israeli people, the Hebrew people. It's normal in Brazil. I don't remember any kind of problem, any kind of racism against the Jewish people. It doesn't exist. I never heard any kind of like I believe there is in the United States, even here in Europe, because the 30s and the 40s German socialisms, they are only repeating nowadays, because normally we think that at that time that mustache man, I'm not going to say his name here, he was really in fact socialist. It was because he started his political life in work syndicatus. The name, it was Deutsche Arbeitsfront, Deutsche Arbeitsfront. And then he created a political party, the name with socialists as well. And he created a German coin with the hammer and that socialist symbols. And it was absolutely socialist all the time. And I believe that the socialism nowadays is continuing his work with another flag.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people on the comments saying it's a pity that the mustache man was stopped. And it's incredible how this is not flagged as hate speech. Like you are in bigger trouble nowadays in social media if you call someone fat when they are actually fat. But if you say that the job was not finished in the 30s and the 40s, then it's okay. No, I don't understand the criteria of social media, to be honest. I think it's all about likes, clicks, revenue, and there are no real ethics. But anyway, that's just my rant about social media. Another stat that I think is very interesting to explore, Artur, is that 25% of the population in Brazil is evangelical. Does that explain the support for Bolsonaro, or there are other factors that helped him to be this loved by the Brazilian people?
I think that Brazil is the most Catholic population, Catholic in the world. We have the evangelic population as well. And we don't have big problems between evangelic or in Catholics or even Orthodox. We don't have in Brazil this religious fighting, this religion argument. There is not in Brazil. I think that we are occupied fighting for soccer.
That's for sure.
That's normally what happened. It does make sense in Brazil, but we don't even fight against the religion. But I believe that the evangelic movement, they have made increased in Brazil. The number of people who became evangelists is because the Brazilian army he failed. How can I explain that? He was connected. The Brazilian army was connected to the socialist side of the Catholic Church that pushed the first dictatorial government, the first one in 1964. It was the same group. It was the central leftists. That's the same group that we have nowadays. That's the same group.
Yeah. Just talking of the church actually, that's another interesting fact. If you go to a church in Portugal, and if you see that there are a lot of people there, and you are surprised, most times the majority are Brazilian. They are not Portuguese. At least 50%. There's always like 50% Brazilian, and 20 to 30%, I don't know, Ukrainian, Romanian, and the odd Portuguese person. And there are Africans as well. I don't know if you noticed that. There are a lot of Africans from Mozambique and Cabo Verde attending the church. But Portuguese, forget about it.
Because the Portuguese, they were indoctrinated by the Cravo movement for 50 years, and Marxism is absolutely against Christianity. It's water and oil.
Marco?
No, I was just going back to what you would, the relationship with Israel. I think to a great extent, the evangelical movement has been very supportive of Israel. Many groups come from Brazil, by the way. I think after the United States, I think probably tourism from Brazil is the highest in terms of volume. And of course, I think the evangelicals are the driver in this tourism. But I notice also that Catholics too, they're the ones I've interacted with as a tour guide, they're generally very supportive as well of Israel. Among my tourists, I've never noticed anyone who had a good word to say about Ignacio Lula da Silva. I have to be perfectly honest. I don't know what that means, but certainly there's something strange. Something quite doesn't fit with regards to how he obtained and maintains power. There's something that doesn't quite fit, put it that way.
We need to explore that, Mark. We need to explore those Brazilians going to Israel. Huh? Maybe Arthur, you can give us a hand.
Yeah, maybe. On occasion, I used to joke a little bit with my Brazilian clients about Lula, and they'd all sigh, and their faces would contort when I mentioned that name. Nobody was ever happy when I mentioned that name.
Yeah, no wonder. What else I want to ask you? I would like to move no, I'm not moving to Portugal 100%, but I'd like to challenge you on something here, Arthur, if you don't mind, because I know among Chega supporters there are also some people who don't particularly like Brazilians. So how do you tackle that as a Chega member and a Brazilian yourself? I'm sorry, I have to put you on the spot.
I think that they are. I don't know if you're talking about the Luso-Brazilian or even the Brazilian people. I think if
I'm
your
talking
question,
about, talk about losers. That's how I call them.
if you're talking about Luso-Brazilians, they are starting disunion. They are a scission in the Portuguese people. Okay, because why the Islamic people entered in the Iberic Peninsula, because the two Visigothic kingdoms, they fight against each other, and one of them asked for help to the Califado. So if you are not united, if you are not strong, you are allowing that your enemy enter in your territory. So if we Portuguese, every we of them, okay, Luso Brazilians as well, if you're not together to solve, to keep the Portuguese culture, we are weak.
Yeah, 100%. Like they can all take advantage from the fact that we are not united. And as a matter of fact, that's how the Portuguese managed to establish themselves in Brazil, because the tribes in Brazil were not acting as a nation, and of course the Portuguese knew it, and they used that in their favor. And that's something that for sure the Arabic groups can avail if we keep fighting with each other. Do you expect Ventura to win the next election? Not the
Yes.
presidential, the general election.
Yes, because as I said before, it's almost a miracle the growth of this party in this kind of leftist media ambience. It's almost a miracle.
Yeah. The thing that I will say is he can win, okay, but he won't have majority. So then, what's going to happen? There's two parties from the center left, center right, they get together, and Ventura can go back to opposition. That's what's going to happen. Similar to what happens in France, for instance. Doesn't matter if Le Pen is winning or else, I don't know, 35% or 40%. So unfortunately, he needs more than that. He needs to have allies outside of the party. How he can do that, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not able to come up with a strategy. But winning the election won't be enough to start a government, I think.
Anyway, he's going to face a very strong opposition. Anyway.
Yeah, because like in Italy, Marco, there are many right-wing parties, and they managed to somehow build a coalition and have a leader, and it's working because Meloni is in power for a couple of years now.
Yeah, she's a very capable politician in the sense she knows how to maneuver very well. I'm not sure there have been huge accomplishments, but certainly, I suppose staying in power is an accomplishment in Italy. She will, in all likelihood, see out the term. So she has an important majority as well. I wanted to, turning back to Brazil with your permission, Vitor. Are there any secessionist movements in Brazil? I remember years ago people speaking about a difference between the north and the south of Brazil. Are there areas of Brazil which would secede, claiming our economy is better, we're the ones who do the work, we're the ones who generate wealth? Is that also a factor in Brazil?
It was the south region. We have three states: Rio Grande do Sul, Paraná, and Santa Catarina state. It was stronger since the 80s. And I don't hear. I don't hear nowadays this kind of talk. No, I don't believe it, because it's different times. We have different.
It's subsided. In Italy too, it's changed to a certain extent. They talk about more regional autonomy, but not about secession. So I was just wondering whether that was a factor. Of course, there are disparities in the sense that the South tends to be more prosperous, doesn't it? The economy is stronger in the South. Am I mistaken? You correct me if I'm mistaken.
I think that nowadays the Santa Catarina state of the São Paulo state interior, I
Right.
think that we have more quality of life,
Right.
considering minor violence.
Mm.
Um, I think there are a lot of leftists
Mm.
in Rio Grande do Sul, and
Mhm.
a lot of corruption. A lot of corruption.
Mm.
It was
Mm.
completely different in the 80s, in the even in 90s.
Mm.
Uh, it was very civilized region, very
Mm.
polite people, very
Yeah.
educated. It was very different.
Mhm.
I like that region. I like very
Mhm.
much. It's very interesting because there are some cities, there are some towns that they speaks German. They speak
Mm.
Italian nowadays.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Especially from the Veneto, the Venetia region. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that. Yeah, I actually visited those areas many years ago. Um, yeah, a long time ago. I'm not going to go into that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vitor.
Yeah, I want to challenge you again, Artur, if you don't mind. And this is not my quote. This is a quote of a friend of mine. Okay, he's Portuguese. He is politically, say, center right. Okay, and he says about he said he told me this about Brazil, that the situation in Brazil is so bad when it comes to politicians that both major figures lean uh, for Russia. So he believes that in the Ukrainian-Russian war, both Bolsonaro and Lula will be friends with Putin. Would you like to comment that statement?
I don't understand. I don't understand because first of all, I believe that Putin, in fact, he's not leftist. He's right wing. Putin is right wing, but he has another interests. He has another kind of pretensions, territorial, any kind of geopolitical position. It's but in fact, some Russian people they are not happy with the right wing, the quality of Putin.
Yeah, I mean it's quite complex to understand Putin's mind.
Yes.
That's out of question. I think he's a kind of a lead. He's kind of leader who is uh, putting the country's interests above everything. So if he needs to lean the right wing nations, he will. If he needs to have an alliance with the left wing countries, he will. It's all about what serves the population the best. So it's not easy to follow. It's like a fox. You don't know what kind of person are you dealing with. Is it is it the right way to manage a country? Uh, in a, to some sense, that was the way. Like a couple of generations ago, a leader will stand for the population no matter what, and he'll handshake with with the dictators, and I think he does that. It was interesting to see that in Brazil there's not much of critique of Russia as there is, say, in Europe. Like in Europe, it's a taboo to say anything positive about Putin. You need to be on Zelensky's side all the time, which to me tells that we're not being honest, because a situation like that, it cannot be just that simple, that there is a good and an evil, and we just need to stick with the good all the time. So I think Brazil, the Brazilian people, or they struggle to take a side because both leaders are not very clear on where they stand, and then there is this universal constraint of saying anything positive about the Kremlin.
I think that normally we in Brazil we don't like Russia politically. We're talking about politics. We don't like, and we have the notion that Putin is selling a medicine to the disease that Russia has created, that was the leftist ideology. So we have in the West Europe that strong leftist thinking. That's too bad. That's too bad. there are some times that I feel like to write in the social media that maybe the European should, the President of the United States, they should apologize the European people by the Normandia arriving, the Normandia landing. You not understand me?
Yeah. If Bolsonaro is prevented from running in the next election, are there any other possible candidates from his political movement?
I don't know. I don't risk to give an opinion about it.
What about his sons?
Huh?
What about Eduardo Bolsonaro, his son? He was always on the pipeline.
Bolsonaro, I didn't understand it.
What about Flavio or Eduardo Bolsonaro? Because I think his sons, they were always on his shadow, and maybe they can step in case the father is jailed.
I think that Eduardo Bolsonaro is still staying in the United States because he cannot go back to Brazil because the regime is going to jail him. And I think that Bolsonaro is very sick, unfortunately. Bolsonaro is very sick, very weak. I don't know what's going to happen, but the shadow of Bolsonarism is going to be alive in Brazil for many years. Yes.
He did leave. I think to a certain extent he probably influenced what happened in Argentina as well with the election of Milei. I think there has been a ripple effect in South America. What do you think of that?
I'm sure that the rising of the right wing in Brazil, it influenced in different measures all the world.
Yes.
How do Brazilians perceive Javier Milei, given that you are always interested in what's going on in Buenos Aires, not only when it comes to football, but also about politics? So I'm sure Brazilians are keeping an eye on the economy, which was always an issue in Argentina. We all know how volatile is that currency. So are Brazilians trying to learn from the Argentinian model and somehow trying to copycat to their country, or it's not something that they can replicate, say, in the near future?
We Brazilian, we like Milei. We right wing Brazilian, we like Milei. And you make me this question. It makes me remember when I was in Brazil the last time I went there, and I remember we met some Argentinian in the beach, and we have asked them before the Argentinian election what they were thinking about to vote or not in Milei, and the answer was very funny because they said we have no choice. We don't know what's going to come. What's the next? We don't know what's going to happen if he becomes president. But we are right that the old system, the old politicians connected to the Kirchners, it's not acceptable anymore. So we're going to vote in an unknown situation because it's better than what is already.
Yeah. The other country that is going on the right direction in Latin America is Bolivia. So they got rid of those socialist donkeys, I think last month, Is that something that gives you some hope for Brazil, given that there are positive changes happening across the continent?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
So in Bolivia, there was an election recently, and the left wing was eliminated from government, and they were there for quite a while. As a matter of fact, Morales and Lula, they are good friends. So do you think that the fact that Bolivia is going in a different direction can provide you some hope for your own country?
I don't know. I think that Bolsonaro influenced all the South America. They make some countries become scared of him. They make, they have killed Uribe. Huh? It's crazy. Huh? We we have nowadays a lot of people moving to Paraguay. There, Paraguay it's the new El Dorado. Huh? It's
Brazilian.
very, yes, the Brazilian as well, and a lot of people is going to live in Paraguay. It's very interesting.
I'm a bit surprised, like, to be honest, because I know that Marco, you mentioned illegal immigration, and Paraguay has received loads of Hezbollah supporters, and it's not new. This is happening for maybe 20 years. If there is an Islamic cell in South America, it's in Paraguay. Okay, they are not in the capital, as far as I know, but they are in Ciudad del Este and on the border with Brazil. It's a very dangerous. It's a very dangerous place, but perhaps other parts of Paraguay are welcoming for Brazil. So I wouldn't talk on, in the name of the whole country.
There are a lot of German going to live in Paraguay. A lot of German people, because the German, they say, we cannot have a German life in Germany, so we're going to look for an West life in Paraguay. It's better to adapt with the Paraguayans because they are West. It's a West culture. They are speak Spanish. They are Christian. It's better to go to Paraguay to find an West life than even in Germany. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, in that sense, I'm not surprised. Actually, I thought of South America as an exile. Like, if I had to leave Europe, I always considered South America, of course, because of the cultural affinities. I can speak with the population in Portuguese or Spanish. It kind of suits, let's say, a certain lifestyle. As a matter of fact, I even considered in a serious manner Patagonia for a while because of the weather. Because I hate I hate hot weather, and Patagonia is a bit like Ireland, and they have good beer and all that. So yeah, why not? Yeah, maybe one of those days I'm calling to you, Marco, from Patagonia, but then we need to think of the time zone. So maybe not for now.
Yeah. Patagonia is somewhere I'd like to visit. Actually, it sounds very interesting. Yeah.
I got to know Patagonia because of this Bruce Chatwin book called Patagonia.
Yes, in Patagonia. Yes, a wonderful book which I read many years ago. Yes. It's a wonderful.
And he quit his job, and he said he just gave a letter to the boss. I'm going to Patagonia. And back then, no one knew where Patagonia was.
Yeah. It's
so
very
he was
interesting.
He was just far. It was just far.
Wonderful book. Wonderful.
The weather is the only thing that I don't like in Portugal. It's really hot. It's a hot country. We have the winter here. It's like a tropical winter. For example, in Brazil, I come from Bahia, so the kind of winter here, 16, 17. 15, or some weeks 25. It's a tropical winter, but we have an equatorial summer.
Yeah. So Arthur, last just as we come to an end, last time we met, we had only 2 beers, and that was my fault because I was in a rush. And because today you made the effort to join us in English, next time you won't have 2 beers, we have 20. How about that? 20 between the two of us, huh? So it's not 20 each. Huh?
Okay.
We'll do that. Any final words that you want to share with the audience in terms of what can the Brazilians expect from politics now that Bolsonaro is constrained? And also, you also mentioned Portugal. Like I would like to give a word of I would like to give a compliment to the work that Chega is doing on social media. I think they are doing very, very well. They understood that the way to reach people is to use efficiently X, Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but I presume they are the same skilled. So, would you like to add your comments on those two?
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other comment, or that's it? Okay. I think we have some audio issues here. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I'll put an end on this conversation. So thanks for joining us, Artur. Best of luck for your political and professor ventures. So, and I hope next time we meet in Portugal. So with that promise of the 20 beers. And Marco, we will meet next Wednesday. No, we meet on Friday. No,
Friday.
There's something coming up on Friday. Yeah. So let's pre-announce that. Friday morning, myself and Marco are going to be here to discuss the protest that took place in London last Saturday. We have 3 noble guests. We will have Peter Bohm, Gary Craig Powell, and what's the third? I can't remember now. What was the third? Oh, that was bad. Gary, Peter, who was the other one?
The new entry. Not to worry.
Who was this? Peter, Gary? We have someone else. Anyway, we have a third one. I can't remember now the third, but we have 3. Yeah, sorry, I just getting tired here. We always do it early in the morning, just because of it's a newbie. It's Johnny Govan. That's his name. So Gould. He's new to us. So make sure to connect on Friday morning if you are free. We expect to kick off around 9:30 UK time. So join us to be the 2 of us and those 3 guests. There are plenty to be said about the march. I think the march didn't finish. A march started on Saturday, but didn't finish on Saturday. There's more to come. That's what we want to foresee together with our guests. So if you enjoyed this show, make sure to let us know by clicking the like button below. If you wanna show it to someone who missed it today, no problem. This will be available for future watching. So press the share button. And if you want to be aware of upcoming conversations like Friday and other ones, make sure to press the bell button and subscribe to the channel. So with that note, I wish everyone a good evening, and I see you very soon. Take care.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to me to be here. Thank you, Marco.
Our pleasure, Arthur. And you too. All the best.
Arthur. Take care.